Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another WyattzWorld Extra, and I know this isn't the usual way I've been starting videos, but unfortunately I just don't have a lot of time, so we're gonna hop right into it. Today I'm gonna be giving you guys 10 WWE wrestlers that you probably forgot about. These are all people who had very brief stints. Whether they were complete flops or whether they got pushed and flopped, they just didn't work out. I plan to get back on 2K later this week. I've just got to get a bunch of yard work done, so before we hop into today's video, guys, head over to gfuel.com, use code WyattzWorld, save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products, and let's get into 10 wrestlers you probably forgot existed. Alright, so first off, we got Paul Birchall. Man, this guy was around in like 2007 for a little bit, and he dressed up as a pirate, and he used to make his entrance by swinging off of the giant fist on SmackDown. It was actually awesome. Like, I fucked with him. I thought he was really cool. Then he disappeared for a number of years and came back as like this completely different heel persona with Katie Lee Birchall, where they just never really ended up getting over with the crowd at all, and every match he had was just boring. Honestly, it kind of feels very similar to how Karrion Kross does now. I honestly don't think I've seen Paul Birchall on WWE programming since 2010, and if he has been around, well, he hasn't been doing much. Alright, next up we've got Lord Tensai. One of the dumbest fucking gimmicks I've ever seen. Anyway, this was A-Train, or Albert. He made a comeback in 2012 after disappearing and wrestling over in Japan for a couple years. Obviously, he came back as this Japanese figure called Lord Tensai. He was this huge, bald, tatted up, fat fucking jug of milk looking guy. It was awful and it didn't work from the start. For one, because the fans were just calling him A-Train. They were just chanting A-Train. And for two, he just felt like Tajiri. He would come out and spray mist at people's face and cheat to win. Obviously, he didn't work out well with the crowd because within a year, he was dancing as a meme with Brodus Clay, known as Sweet Tea Tensai. I'm not sure how long he was around. I don't want to say it was past 2014, but this gimmick just didn't work out. I'll never forget his main event match on Raw with John Cena. They were really trying to feed him to us, and we were not letting it happen. And after him, we've got Yoshi Tatsu. I knew nothing about him other than the fact that he was a jobber, but what the hell happened to him? Like, he just disappeared. He was around on ECW when that was towards the end, and then I think he came to Raw or SmackDown, and I don't ever remember watching this guy win a single match. Not once. But he got consistent television time for what seemed like a couple months. He would come out, lose, 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 and then eventually he was just quietly released, and we never heard from him again. I remember he was a secret unlockable character in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, and I tried to make him good in that game, and he even sucked in there, so WWE must have actually had zero faith in him. Now moving on to one of my favorite classic tag teams, we got Deuce and Domino. Anybody remember these guys? They had Cherry with them, you know, the girl on the rollerblades. They'd come out in like an Eddie Guerrero classic style car. They were greasers from the 80s. They were actually a really unique, entertaining tag team, but they were not around a long time, but I do believe they were champions. I only specifically remember them on SmackDown, and it was during the years of like 2006 to 2007 or 8. They were never faces, they were always heels, but I actually thought they were a great tag team, and I was always sad to see them go. And now we will move on to Karma, or Awesome Kong, or I think she has like 50 different names because she's wrestled for every promotion ever. Karma was weird, and Karma was really unfortunate that she didn't work out because I do believe she would have been fantastic in WWE, but it was the wrong timing for everything. For those who didn't know, Karma never actually wrestled a match. She signed with WWE, and then they put on this weird gimmick with her where she would come out to this really creepy laughter, and she would beat the absolute piss out of people and then just leave the ring. Then she eventually did start a little feud, I think it was with Eve Torres, but before she could actually have her match, she got pregnant. Now, this story only continues to get worse as I have to tell you guys that sadly, Karma's pregnancy ended with a miscarriage, meaning she didn't actually get to have the child. And on top of that, she never made her WWE debut to begin with. She did appear in a Royal Rumble match, but that was it. She never fought other than that in the WWE. She was only around for a number of months, and then poof, like smoke, she was gone. And I think she did go to AEW, but she was let go almost instantly. Still though, go back and watch her return vignettes and when she would like come out and stuff. It was creepy. It really, it made me kind of eerie. All right, now we are on to Vladimir Kozlov. Another guy that Vince just tried to shove down our throats and it wasn't working, and before you knew it, he was literally a meme. I can't remember who he danced with though. It wasn't Brodus Clay. I want to say he did something with Santino after he failed. Anyway, Vladimir Kozlov was this Russian brute who appeared out of nowhere in WWE and was instantly a WWE title contender on SmackDown. He got wins over Triple H, he got wins over The Undertaker. I mean, this guy was beating the shit out of everybody. The only problem was he couldn't talk and he just wasn't a good wrestler. He wasn't anything special to begin with. I do want to say, however, he made 2 title matches. One of them was an Elimination Chamber and the other, I think, was a triple threat match. So that goes to show for something, like WWE really did give attempts. Eventually ended with him being a jobber in the company and quietly released, I think, in 2014. All right, now we will talk about Alex Riley. This guy I really thought was the future. I thought he was the next John Cena. For those who don't know about Alex Riley, he came up in NXT Season 2 back before it was, you know, what it is now. It was like a weird game show fucking thing. After NXT, he ended up coming over to Raw and sticking with The Miz as The Miz's stooge or sidekick. Eventually, after WrestleMania, their relationship imploded with Alex Riley turning on The Miz and beating the hell out of him. This launched Alex Riley's singles career, and this guy had a banging theme song. The fans loved him. He had the look of a superstar. And then suddenly he just kind of disappeared from the screens, went to NXT, became an NXT announcer, came out of retirement, had a match with Kevin Owens, and then got released from the WWE, and they will have nothing to do with him ever since. Okay, now there's 2 stories to this though. One of them is Alex Riley just wasn't that good at his job, and that kind of shows considering he hasn't been able to land a job anywhere else full time. But the second story is that Alex Riley claims John Cena held him down and personally pretty much got him released from Raw. Or demoted. I don't know what to believe. Alex Riley's made some insane social media posts claiming John Cena's evil. But again, it's hard to roll with Alex when no company will really sign him because the guy is so insane. I thought he had it all and it turns out he had nothing. After Alex Riley, we've got another tag team, Los Matadores, or the Shining Stars, or any of the other 10 things they were repackaged as. It's Primo and Epico. The only reason I say Los Matadores is because they had El Torito, you know, the little person that ran around with them dressed as a bull. It was great. It was actually pretty funny stuff. These guys just didn't connect with the crowd one bit. They're like Humberto Carrillo and the Angel Garza guy, I think, is his partner. Decent performers, but the crowd wouldn't connect with them. And WWE just kept trying. Repackage after repackage after repackage until I believe this was their final stint, and again, it just didn't work. It just doesn't look legitimate. It didn't feel legitimate. It felt like a comedy act. They were around for a hot minute, and they might have been tag team champions. I don't think so. But fast forwarding to the present days, I don't think these two have been on a WWE television screen in 8 years. And now we talk about Jason Jordan. One of the most ridiculous WWE careers ever. He was in NXT with Chad Gable, originally known as American Alpha. Then they got called up to SmackDown, where they were still somewhat successful. But eventually, Vince McMahon would split up that tag team because he liked the look of Jason Jordan. So then they tried to push him in the weirdest way possible by making Jason Jordan Kurt Angle's fucking kid. Yeah, okay. That was basically when the crowd said, fuck this whole Jason Jordan experiment, but they rode with it anyway. He then entered this weird tag team with Seth Rollins where they won the tag team championships. And then Jason Jordan would suffer some sort of real life injury that has kept him out of action ever since. I mean, this was 2, 3, 4 years ago, pre-COVID. However, I do want to say that if you don't remember him, that's okay, but you should know who he is because he is a producer now, and he was the one who solely is responsible for producing that absolute gem of Rhea versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. And finally, we are ending with my favorite forgotten wrestler probably ever, and that is Evan Bourne. This guy was amazing. He was Ricochet. Literally, he's Ricochet. Weighed about 150 pounds. He'd come out and do 1,000 flips in every match. He was a tag team champion at one point with Kofi Kingston, but he never got pushed ahead of that because he was just so small. They did try and push him. He got a clean pay-per-view win over Chris Jericho. He tag teamed with John Cena and Rey Mysterio, like they tried, but something wasn't working, and eventually he was released from the company, and I believe he is now in AEW or Impact under Matt Sydal, which is his real name. I'll never forget you, Evan Bourne, or your awesome theme music, or Air Boom, the cool tag team. You were a dog, and I wish I could see you again in WWE. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it for 10 wrestlers you probably forgot about. Let me know who I forgot to mention on this list. Let me know some new lists you guys might want to see. Anyway, with everything I just said, I'm going to hop off and get this edited so I can get working on my yard and you guys can watch this on time. Have a great week, everybody, and I will see you the next time I upload.